Almost 3 years ago, I set up one of my favorite Airbnb properties and I broke it down completely on TikTok. It was like 2 or 3 years ago. So search up my TikTok if you want to take a look at it. But in this video, I'm gonna show you how this Airbnb made $70,000 in the year of 2024. So in perspective, this is $10,000, right? $70,000 is about 70 of these. So I'm gonna show you exactly how much money it made, which is around 73,000, and what the expenses were. And I'm gonna show you the exact listing. I'm gonna show you the photos and why I personally think and know it produced that much money. And I wanna be as transparent as possible, and that's what I'm bringing to this channel. So make sure if you want to look at the receipts, you can look through my TikTok. I think it was a 3-step series that had some twists in the videos. But without further ado, let's get into the video. I'm gonna share my screen and show you exactly how much it made. So first things first, I'm sharing my screen. I'm going to show you exactly how much money this property made with receipts and exactly how much it made every single month that added up to this price right here. So basically, without further ado, these are the gross earnings. As you can see, $73,000. It is an average of $6,000 every single month. So let's take a look at the months, because you guys know this business is a bit seasonal. I want to be fully transparent with you here. So when you scroll down here, we get to see exactly how much it made month by month. So, January made 5K, 3K, 7K, 6K, $6,700, $10,000 in 1 month. So $10,000, just to put it in perspective, one of these, that's what this one property made in 1 month. We go down, 5K, 6K, 6K, 8K, 4K, 5K. And as we take a look here, we care to understand that every single month is a completely different, and this is due to different types of bookings. This is due to different types of events. And this is also due to seasonality. So some months, the property doesn't bring in as much income as other months. And that's completely okay. Airbnb is a seasonal business, but when I run numbers on properties, when I pick properties to operate, I go based off the annual revenue and I divide it. For example, when I actually ran my numbers on this property, it gave me around, $40,000 to $50,000 a year. As you can see up here, it made $73,000. So what does that show us? It made $23,000 over the projected annual revenue. And I'm going to show you exactly why that is. I'm going to show you the property and why it makes so much money, because this is very important. So I got to show you guys, the viewers, I got to be as transparent as possible. So let me pull up the property and the listing. All right, cool. So right here, I have my listing pulled up. So like I said, guys, you can go on my TikTok and see the TikToks I posted back when I was like 18 or 19 when I was setting up this property. So you can actually look at the live footage of me doing it. So go through the listing photos. You're going to see why it produces so well. So first of all, I went in with the sofa, the L-shaped sofa, make sure it's a nice luxury stay. I put a game table in. So it's important when you're setting up your listing to make it completely bright, because people like bright stuff. Let me not yap too much. Let me show you the property, why it produces so well. So as you can see, the inside is nice, right? The inside is really nice, and that's fine. And properties don't only make money because they look good on the inside. They make money because of the amenities and different things they have to provide. So this one specifically, look right here. There's bamboo on the outside. From these pictures right here, people have left very good reviews about the bamboo. They left very good reviews about the property and the deck and the vibe just because of this small experience right here. So I think this experience alone actually boosted the revenue at least $10,000 a year. And I have the amenities, washer and dryer. I make sure the property has parking right here. So the property has parking. I have game tables. I have all the amenities they might possibly need. And also I host really good stays. This property has an average of 4.87 stars. It's a guest favorite on the platform, which shows us, people are really enjoying this property. It was actually at about 4.91 the other day. Someone left a really bad review. I don't know why. Sometimes that happens, but hopefully we get that one removed. But anyways, 93 reviews, 4.87 stars, guest favorite. It's a very good property. People love it. They don't only love it because of the stay. They love it because of the customer service. They love it because it stays clean. The review is not only left about the host, or the review is not only left about the property. The review is left about the cleanliness, left about the experience, is left about the hospitality. So make sure you got to check all these boxes in order to be successful. So in my listing, I always highlight the best things about the listing. Right here's the location. I'm probably gonna block it off, but I highlight these things, driveway, washer and dryer, the things that people are looking for, and also make sure they know that I'm going to accommodate long-term stays, because we want to accommodate those long-term people. I actually just got a booking, it was a long-term booking because I had that in the bio, or I had that in the description. So make sure your description is good. Make sure you're describing your place very nicely, where it's broken down, it's organized. for people to actually understand, because people don't like reading through paragraphs. So if you're starting a listing, this is also a plus. So all these things together, they attract really good bookings. So basically your income on Airbnb depends on a couple things. It depends on you being a good host. It depends on having the systems, automations, because I barely work 2024. I have my virtual assistants, my cleaners, my handyman doing all the work for me. I have the proper softwares in place. I have my pricing in place. It's constantly updating itself. I have the softwares to update the cleaners. So basically, I am running this business on autopilot, and my whole job is to find new deals, is to fund new deals, is to make more money. But let me go back on the reservation where I told you they stayed 1 month. I'm gonna show you exactly how much it made. So this is the calendar for the property. So this guest right here stayed 47 nights, and the total payout was around $9,000. And 47 nights, that's around 2 months, but it's really a month and a half. So let's just say 6,000 of that was for the month before it, which was the 30 days. I wanted to switch from the computer back to the camera, but I was saying 30 days. So let's just say 6,000 of that covered the 30 days. This property is $2,000 a month in rent. So I don't actually own this property. I actually rent this property. I furnish this property with my own money, and that's how I'm making the income off of this. But let me break down exactly what the expenses are monthly. And from 2024, from the $73,000 that the property brought in, I'm gonna tell you exactly how much of that I profited. So I'm taking you back to the whiteboard, back to the basics. So I'm gonna break down exactly how much this property made and exactly how much is going in my pocket after expenses. And I'm gonna tell you the exact expenses, because that's what most people hide in the videos, which I don't freaking hide, because I wanna give you the best transparent information possible. By the way, if you're not following my Instagram, make sure to follow my Instagram right now. If you're not following it, you're fake and you don't wanna make money. If you wanna make money and you're a real person, follow my Instagram, subscribe to my channel. So this property made $74,000 in 1 year. So that comes out to around $6,000 every single month. So now let's talk about the expenses. The rent is actually $1,900 a month. So we have the rent is about $1,900 every single month, right? We also have utilities like water, utilities like electric and gas. These came around to like $300 a month. Let's say $300. So now we are at $2,200 in expenses. The average amount I spent on cleaning expenses every single month was around $400. So let's add that to the tally. So this is rent, this is utilities, this is cleaning, and I spent around $20 a month on the softwares I use for this property. So let's add a $20 for the softwares. And let's just add another $100 for miscellaneous expenses that may have came up during the year every single month. So it's around $1,200 a year miscellaneous. So we're gonna add $100 to this. So the total expenses for the month came out to around, $2,720. So $2,720 that's spent every single month on upkeep, on rent, on cleaning of the property itself. So let's erase this right here. So when we do the expenses, which is $2,720, which is $2,720, we do that times 12, which is 12 months in the year. That gives us $32,640 in expenses, which we're gonna round it up to 33K. So 33K is how much it costs to operate this property for the entire year. So now we do the simple math, right? So as we were saying, the property made $74,000 in 2024. And the property upkeep for the year was around 33K. So after expenses, we minus $74,000 from $33,000. So that gives us a net total of, I know you guys can do good math, but it's $41,000 for the year of 2024 that I made in straight profit from one property that I don't even own. So this $41,000 comes out to around 3.4K every single month. So basically I made $3,400 in profit every single month from one property that I have. And keep in mind, I have an entire business and a portfolio, which I have multiple properties that are operating. Some make a little more and some make a little less, but you get the gist. I basically started this business from a very early age, and I didn't think I could do it until I did. And fast forward, I kept reinvesting in my money, and I ended up at this point. There's no trick to it. People think there's just a trick to starting business and there's a trick to, making money. A big part of that is you putting in the work, and a bigger part of that is God seeing you put in the work and Him rewarding you for the work that you're putting in. But through this business, I've learned a lot of different things, not just how to run Airbnbs. I learned how to talk to people. I learned how to present myself in a proper way. I learned how to speak to people. I learned how to run numbers. I learned how to manage my finances correctly. I learned how to be a man. I learned how to take on responsibility. You know, when people talk about starting businesses and scaling businesses, it's not just about the business itself. It's about the things that it actually taught you throughout the entire process. You may think everything is easy, but it's actually not. I try to be as transparent as I can on the channel. I don't show too much, but you know, you get the gist. You know, business is for the right people, and I hope a lot of people understand that. But this is something that a lot of people can do. You know, 3 years ago, I literally got a 3-year ago pop up on my phone. I had a 3-year ago pop up on my phone, and I was working valet. I was hitting a cart. And at the same time, keep in mind, 3 years ago is when I started the business. So I was working that job. I was working from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. every single day, putting in the work, got my first unit, scaled, kept growing my business. I started at 18. If I did, I don't know why other people can't. And at the end of the day, you know, I talk a lot about mindset on this channel. Everything is mindset. If you don't have the right mindset going into any type of business, if you don't have the right mindset going into the Airbnb, going into trading, going into e-commerce, going into different things, then don't expect to see an outcome. You don't have the mindset, then you're not gonna stay consistent. If you don't stay consistent, how are you gonna even work? Being your own boss is not for everyone, but if you wanna be your own boss, you can be heavily rewarded. Like, this is $10,000 right here, and it doesn't faze me anymore. $10,000 used to be how much I make like 6 months of the year. And now it's how much, you know, I make in a week from my business. So at the end of the day, I wanted to show you how much I can make from one property. I would just wanted to overall open your eyes to business, open your eyes to short-term rental, open your eyes to Airbnb, open your eyes to real estate. And if it's not your path, then that's completely fine. You know, everyone has the things that they like. My perception on life, my perception on business is I'm gonna do what works even if I don't love doing it. I know a lot of people tell you, you know, you don't work a day in your life if you love what you do. I love what I do. I love being an entrepreneur. I love problem solving. So once I identified these two things, that's what business is. It's problem solving and being an entrepreneur, being your own boss. I can't fathom going back to a job. I can't fathom listening to somebody, and it's, you know, not me saying that out of cockiness, it's me saying that out of my personal preference. I chose a different path at 18 years old that led me to this point. I drive the car that I want, I live in the place that I want, and I do whatever I want. But none of this would be in action without God. God is the only one that takes, and God is the only one that humbles. Nothing happens without the permission of God. Always remember that in whatever you do in life. But with that being said, if you guys want to learn more about the business, I have a free masterclass on the YouTube channel. It's one of my videos, so if you scroll down a little bit, you'll find the masterclass. It's really beneficial. I basically talk from like start to finish how you can find a property, how you can lease the property, how exactly you will set it up, and exactly what you need to do. It's literally like a 50-minute masterclass. So I'll either put it right here, or you can just go on my YouTube channel, subscribe, and scroll down a little bit, and you're gonna find it. So that's for the ones that want to learn more about this business and actually achieve a little bit more in life. And if you don't want to, and if you just watch this video for entertainment, that's completely fine as well. That's what most people do. Most people scroll on their phone, watch stuff for entertainment, and are satisfied. But for those of you who aren't satisfied, man, lock in on whatever you're doing in life. At the end of the day, you can do whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter what business it is. It doesn't matter if you want to be a dentist. It doesn't matter if you want to open a dentist office. You can do that. You don't need to have your dentistry license to open a dentist office. You think most hospitals, you think most dentist offices, you think most businesses are owned by the people who have degrees in them? No, you know, doctors' offices, they're owned by businessmen. Hospitals are owned by businessmen. You know, in Ohio, one of the biggest, not corporations, one of the biggest hospital branches are Wexner. Wexner is obviously does not have his medical license, but he owns all the hospitals because he has money. He's a businessman. He knows how to run a business. So with that being said, do whatever you want to do in life. You only got one try at this, you know? We only have one life. Are we gonna take advantage of life or let it slip by us? So if you didn't walk away with anything from this video, I want you to be grateful, comment something that you're grateful for. Make sure you pray to God at least once a day, and make sure you stay on your grind and make some freaking money, man. Everyone's counting on you. Make some money. You have no one counting on you, then your younger self is counting on you. But with that being said, as I leave you guys at the end of every single video, make sure you follow my Instagram, subscribe, comment something you're grateful for, and do not forget to pray to God. I'm out.